All right, so the first match we're gonna watch. Let's head on over to caster Rob. Rob, at the desk, what do we got going on today? All right, the first match, everybody, is what we're gonna be watching. Is going to be Frozen versus OmegaZero. Their lineups vary quite a bit. We'll tune into exactly their lineups, the ban strategies here, and what matchups each player is going to want to take a look at. Let's head on over to Rob over at the desk, who's going to take a closer look at the games and going to basically be our review process. Go kick it off, Rob. No problem. All right. Review Rob is on the set. We're going to take a look at the deck list down over here to my left. We have Control Mage, Cube, Warlock, Highlander, Priest, and Jade Druid coming in for Frozen. Each player has chosen to ban the Warlock, with Frozen's Warlock being the Cube Warlock, while OmegaZero being the Control Warlock. Obviously, they've banned each other out. They both have Highlander available. The matchup that Frozen is currently looking to get, his Control Mage, in my opinion, will do very well against the Aggro Druid and both the Murloc Paladin. He wants to dodge the Highlander Priest with his Control Mage. From there, Jade Druid and Highlander Priest against Omega's Highlander Priest should do pretty well, given the fact that the Highlander is basically just whoever draws combo first, and Jade Druid can sometimes out-armor the amount of combo bursts that the Highlander Priest can do. Besides that, the Murloc Paladin and the Aggro Druid, there's not... We've seen them all before. There's nothing crazy like that. Let's hit into the games. What's up, Pi? What's going on, dude? So... get this muted. The game should be starting shortly. I should be right in the middle of each. There we go. The opening mulligans for each player. What do we got going on? Frozen mulligans everything. Omega keeps the Tide Collar. Makes sense. It looks like it's the Control Mage versus the Murloc Paladin. Not really anything too crazy there. Given that the Control Mage, this is definitely one of the better matchups. Starting off with the Tide Collar makes sense, given the fact that it's going to get buffed by one of the shorter Murlocs in the other guy's hand. Ooh, Frozen hand is freaking thick. That's a thick hand, but I mean, it's given that when you're playing Control Mage, at least he has two forms of AoE in his hand. He drew a secret. Normally you want to Arcanologist into secrets, but it's a defensive secret barrier, which is going to get a lot of value in the early game. He's probably just going to pass this turn. Nothing going on there. That draw was huge for OmegaZero. His turn 3 was looking like maybe a hero power make a Murloc, but now it can be War Leader. I'm seeking the Kodo. Eye for an Eye and Repentance. Oh, he picks the Eye for an Eye. That's interesting. I wonder what he's thinking about for that Eye for an Eye, because normally you want to go for value because he's going to be clearing the board a lot, and especially if he's playing War Leader next turn. So it's War Leader. It's basically play two Murlocs with the Vilespin Inquisitor and the Hunter, or go with the War Leader. The Hunter allows him to basically make a trade, summon two Murlocs, and get this guy up to a 4-2. That's a pretty devastating board right here. Pushing a lot of damage. But good news for Frozen, he's got that coin into Dragon's Fury. It's pretty exciting. For Frozen. Oh my god, he ripped his second Dragon's Fury. That's... Ooh! Ho ho! Double Dragon's Fury, obviously holding coin. So his question now is, does he play the secret, or does he decide the draw is better? I like playing the secret. The draw doesn't make any significant difference because he already has the AoE in his hand. So it makes sense that he would play the secret, try to mitigate as much damage as he can this turn, and then later in the game when he ends up using his AoE, he can go ahead and start drawing more. Going for the Divine Shield. Holy shit! Are you kidding me? This cucked him so hard. His Dragon Potion, or his Dragon's Fury doesn't even destroy the Murlocs now. Oh my god, that Gentle Megasaur into Divine Shield was insane. That was the best thing he could ask for. So now he has to use two Dragon's Furies to clear off just this board because of that Divine Shield. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Doesn't matter how high he rolls. Obviously, he was trying to roll high enough to destroy the Gentle Megasaur, which had 4 HP. But when you're running Control Mage, most of the time you're going to pull at least a Polymorph or above. Dude, OmegaZero with these draws and the fucking... This Adapt, that was insane. So he goes with the Hero Power War Leader, obviously trying to push as much damage as possible. This Tide Collar right here is an 8-2. This Tide Collar has done like over 15 points of damage at this point. That's insane. There's the Dragon's Fury #2. Not exactly what Frozen wanted to do on this turn. He did rip out another secret, though, so he's going to be statistically... He's not going to die to a top deck of a weapon, but at the same time, this is not a good position for Frozen. Frozen's going to need the top deck, the guy that gives him armor, I just call him the artifact dude. Caster Rob. What's the card called? Artifact dude. Perfect. Turn 6 for Frozen. I mean, he's going to have to Blizzard, right? It's either Ice Block or Blizzard. All right, so he's choosing the Ice Block play, and then obviously he fills out the curve with the Ice Block. Or he draws, and then because he can't play Blizzard anymore, he obviously plays the Ice Block. If he goes with the Blizzard play, he's weak to a weapon. If he goes with the Ice Block play, he's basically giving his opponent more time to draw a weapon. So in my opinion, I actually like the Blizzard there, because he's going to have to use the Blizzard next turn anyway, and that just gave your opponent 2 draws to find the weapon. Meanwhile, if you just play the Blizzard right away, they have to get that weapon right there, and then the second turn you Ice Block, and then you guarantee you never die. So OmegaZero, he's pushing 13 damage on the board. Obviously, he knows the Ice Block's there. The question is, does he want to play Call to Arms, play into Blizzard, but put damage on the board just in case, you know, Frozen has... I'm not sure what you'd be scared of. I kind of like... Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing the Call to Arms here. It allows him to get some of those smaller cards out of his deck and a higher chance to draw a weapon. Because when your opponent's freezing the board every turn, it's very hard for a Mage to freeze the board and your face. You know what I'm saying? So if you can get the small minions out of the way and get a higher percentage to draw into your weapons, so you have that kind of dual options, I think that's key. There he goes. He uses the Call to Arms, thins out his deck, plays the Eye for an Eye, which now we understand why he picked it. He picked it for the Ice Block later down the road if Frozen was going to win through that late game, you know, not being able to get popped. But now he's in a spot where he's going to have to, like... It's rough. I mean, he's going to have to Blizzard. There's no other option. And at this point now, OmegaZero can top deck a weapon and end it right here. The Kings doesn't change anything. Does he drop the Mega Sword to protect his Murloc on the board? He does. Okay. He's going to look for some form of probably Divine Shield or Summon Plants. That's what I would do. Because if he clears the board and you still get 2 plants left over, you're still pushing damage the following turn. So he picked the plant. So even now, if Frozen Flame Strikes, there's going to be still 2 1/1s left on the board, which is so annoying. It's so annoying. That Ice Block top deck, though. So what I see here is like a Ping Face, Ice Block, and maybe... Yeah, probably Ping Face, Raven, Ice Block. He gets another, maybe an AoE out of his deck, thins it out a little bit, develops the Ice Block, gets the Eye for an Eye out of the way. Playing the Dirty Rat doesn't matter because the minions are getting through it anyway. But this game, I mean, OmegaZero looks like he's locked this one up. And this is one of the things I was saying about the Control Mage, guys, is that the Control Mage is here to beat, you know, the more aggressive to mid-range decks. But if we see, like, oh, he decided to ping that, so next turn if he Flame Strikes, so he just doesn't care about Eye for an Eye. The problem is, though, if Frozen takes any points of damage and he goes down to 1, he's always losing, because that's an Eye for an Eye. You know what I'm saying? So because he pinged the 1/1, because the 1/1s don't matter if he can play Dirty Rat in the same turn. Okay, so I'm actually going to pause it here, and we're going to talk about that for a second, because this was a big deal. Now there's a 0% chance Frozen can ever win because there's no healing in Mage unless he runs Alexstrasza. And if he runs Alexstrasza, he still hasn't drawn it. I'm not sure about the deck list, but what I saw there is that if that is an Eye for an Eye, right, you would ping that Eye for an Eye, so you're at 1. Ice Block's going to pop you at 1, and now you have an actual chance to win because you can play the Artifier, and then you can gain armor from there. But if you have armor, and you still only have 1 HP, and you deal 1 damage to his face, he's dead anyway. So in this situation, even, like, let's say he wouldn't have popped the beast, he Flame Strikes, clears the board, he creates 2 1/1s, right? And then you can drop the Dirty Rat, and even if your opponent has the Kings to go through the Dirty Rat, he's still not clearing it in 1 turn because it's still only a 5/5 and the other one's a 1/1. So I like the Ping Face play there. But, you know, we know it's Eye for an Eye. But at that point in time, I don't know. I don't know. It was a hard pick. He runs Alex and Jaina. All right. I know Jaina's a mandatory, but Alex is not. What's up, Tech? I'm not sure what OmegaZero is thinking about here with that Kings. I mean, obviously everything will die to a Flame Strike, but he's still going to get 2 1/1s out of the deal. So he buffs that up just to put it out of Flame Strike range. It makes sense. That's a giant worm. A 15/7 worm. I mean, it's just amazing that Control Mage can get shut down this hard by an aggro deck when Control Mages, you run double Dragon's Fury, he runs Flame Strikes, Blizzards, he's got cards, multiple cards to draw into that, he's got double Ice Block. I mean, there's just no way that this deck should be able to beat the Control Mage with this amount of success. Like, this is just domination. So with that Flame Strike, the 2 1/1s appear, the Worm is able to trade in, he just trades in the 1/1s into the into face, and that would have wrapped up that game. So in that particular match, what was the decider was basically on turn 4, that Gentle Megasaur into the Divine Shield. That is what that he, from that point on, he had to use two AoEs to clear the board that he would have normally been able to clear once, and he took 2 more turns of that Tide Caller hitting him in the face for maximum damage. I mean, that was just silly sauce. That was just stupid damage that thing was pushing out. All right, let's see when the next game is starting. So the next game is right here. All right, so it looks like the Highlander Priest for Frozen versus the Aggro Druid from OmegaZero. OmegaZero is pretty solid hand. Frozen's got some Cycle, Radiant Elemental, and a Twilight Drake. It looks like he's running the Dragon variant of the deck, which I think is a little bit better against OmegaZero's Beast Druid, or Aggro Druid, because it actually has cards that can fight back on board, not just Cycle and AoE. Drawing Patches in the opening hand from OmegaZero. Whoo! Let the little salt packets begin to flow, baby. Probably going to start off with the Raven. Plays well against Northshire Cleric. I don't... unless he's going to... oh, okay, never mind. That doesn't work. Yeah. I see an Enchanted Raven here, unless he really likes Firefly, but I don't like the Firefly play. I like the Enchanted Raven. You know you want to. There you go. He's also going to coin out the Firefly. That's interesting. I guess the coin isn't as valuable to him now that he has already drawn Patches, and it's not like he's coining into Southsea Captain. Oh, Frozen with the top deck of the Holy Smite, going for the 2/3 into the killing of the Drake, or the little Raven. What a play. That was mean. That was mean right there. Frozen's got a pretty solid hand. Dragonfire Potion as backup, Shadow Word Death in case a Hydra comes out. He obviously knows Patches is in hand now, drawing both Bloodsail Corsairs. He has 0 buffs in hand from OmegaZero. The Holy Smite wasn't a top deck? Oh, he played it like it was. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to watch both player screens at the same time. Again, new to this. Going with the Captain. He played double Pirate last turn, so he could easily have the Captain this turn. Gets the easy trades into the 2/3. I don't think he Spirit Lashes. I think he holds that for Blood Mage. He's only looking at 5 damage, and he's still at 30, so I think he's okay. Ooh, another Southsea top deck into the Patches for a 3/3 charge as well. He just went from pushing like 5 damage in one turn to 10. He doubled up for just 4 mana. Holy shiz. I mean, these top decks from OmegaZero are disgusting. This is disgusting. I mean, Frozen's it's another hard spot. He's got 1 more turn until Dragonfire hits the floor. He really doesn't want to Spirit Lash, but he's looking at, 14 damage on the board. I mean, that's just craziness. Turn 4, half your life. He heals for 2. He goes to 22. So he goes for the Silence to mitigate some of that damage. He reduces the damage on board by 3. So we're looking at 11 damage now. I think it's just the heal and pass here, guys. I don't think he commit to the Spirit Lash yet. He's committing, though. He's committing to the Spirit Lash in fear of Savage Roar. We'll see if OmegaZero ends up top decking it, but I think I would have liked to save that Spirit Lash for a Blood Mage play later. Because right now, if OmegaZero top decks a Living Mana, he's just done. The game is just over. I'm not sure if Frozen's list runs the Shadow Ward Horror or not. But if he does, that might change up some percentages there. But this is looking really bad for Frozen. It looks good for Frozen right now, but it's just a top deck away from OmegaZero being able to pick it back up in a turn or two. Now OmegaZero is thinking about, does he Galaka Kaka Laka Laka reload Kaka on his pirate? That is the question of the day. He doesn't like these 2/1s, because these 2/1s, they're very wimpy little creatures, but I think he's just going to hero power past this turn. He has enough damage to push lethal next turn. There's no reason to commit more on the board. I like this play from OmegaZero a lot. This holds restraint. Oh, he hasn't ended turn yet. Normally when they hero power and finish off that final attack, they end their turn, but OmegaZero is still iffy about this. He wants to commit. He's committing one more. He's not committing. He commits the Dire Mole. And that's it. OmegaZero giving a lot of information away there, dude. There's the Dragonfire Potion out of the hand. That's exactly what OmegaZero was thinking about. He didn't want to commit too much into that AoE he knew was coming. Tar Creeper, not a bad draw off the top. Not exactly what he was looking for. Living Mana was obviously pretty good. So he's pushing currently 4 damage, 5 with hero power. He can heal for 3 every turn. Shadow Reaper Anduin off the top doesn't make a significant difference right now. He'd have much rather seen Raza for the free heal every turn. I'm thinking a Kazakus Potion. All right, he's going to go Kazakus, and the question is, does he go for the 1 or the 5 mana? That's what he's currently thinking about. I would like to see him go for the 5 mana due to the fact that even if the opponent top decks Savage Roar, you're technically still alive. You can pick up the one that does 5 damage or 4 damage to everything, and you can either draw or gain armor from there, or even resurrect creatures that have previously passed or have died in the game. So I'd like to see the 5 mana Kazakus Potion into either armor, deal 4 damage to everything, or draw 2 cards. I'd like to see that. We'll see if Frozen agrees. There's the Kazakus coming down. This is the moment of Potion Truth, baby. Does he go with what the Shack? He goes with the 5 mana. There it is. Draw 2 or gain 7. This is the 2 I was talking about. He wants the armor, but there could be better things at the moment based on his life total. He picked them exceedingly quickly, so I didn't get to see his picks, but we'll be able to find out exactly which potions he picked. He did 4 damage. Whoa. Simmer back down there. Let's go back. I want to see which potion this is. He picked the 4 damage. I saw that. I didn't see what the other one was. Draw 2 cards. Exactly. On point. There's the Savage Roar top deck. Wow. All right, so we're looking at some big daddy damage coming from OmegaZero this turn. This is exactly what Frozen did not want to see. Worst case situation. Frozen would have even rather saw Living Mana because he's got that potion cock-locked and loaded. So there's the Savage Roar hitting him right in the mouth. It's exactly not lethal, which is why he went for the 5 mana potion. If Savage Roar was lethal there, I think Frozen would have actually gone for the 1 mana potion, looked to do 2 damage to everything, and gain 3 armor. But I mean, this priest is getting low on the floor, man. OmegaZero thinking, what do I do? I've got this 3 attack for my mouth. It looks like it's going face. Oh, Omega's committed, man. He's committed to the face. All right, this is where we're going to see the Kazakus trade into the Tar Creeper. The potion hits down. The question is, I don't think he ever alkalites first. I don't think he cares about that extra draw that much. I would like to see Frozen heal here. I would like to see the heal. But he may, in fact, play the Alkalite of Pain knowing that his opponent does not run Swipe. If his opponent does not run Swipe, Alkalite is technically a safe play because he's going to be able to Binding Heal up next turn, making up for the lack of hero power this turn. So let's see what Frozen does here. I think either play is viable. The Alkalite's a little bit more go-go juice. The other play is, you know, along the safer route. I'm not sure if the deck lists are released to each other's players. He goes with the Alkalite of Pain. Okay. I like it. The Corridor Creeper top deck. This is an easy clear from Frozen. Shadow Ward Death in hand. It's been sitting there. This should be This is easy cake sauce for Frozen. He's going to be able to clean that up really nicely. The Netherspite Historian, he can look for a Dustbreaker so that he gets that second AoE. Oh, he's going for the Anduin. Okay. He goes for the Anduin. He gains the 5 armor immediately. This is not something I would have done. That Anduin, there's the living mana. This is where he needs to rip a Duskbreaker. That's why I wanted to Netherspite Historian last turn to see if we could get that. Because I like saving the Anduin because it's technically 5 armor. He trades. He's still looking for some more AoE. Gets the Velen. Okay. The question is he looking for Dustbreaker or is he going to Power Ward Shield first? He could also Alkanai. He can look for, if he runs the Soul Priest, he has the Circle of Healing in his hand. Goes for the Power Word Shield on the Alkalite. Okay. There's the Auctioneer. Ooh. You can do some cheesy things with Auctioneer Circle of Healing. He also still has the hero power. He can ping his own Alkalite of Pain. I mean, he's going to need to clear up the board, right? Because he's looking at 14 damage to the mouth. I mean, this is a tight spot for Frozen. I like the Dustbreaker. I like going Netherspite Historian into Dustbreaker. It works every time, 20% of the time. Come on, Frozen, get that good RNG in here, dude. You're running the rope. Where are you doing? Ah, the Velen heal for 10. Put yourself out of range of the little Go-Go's. And now these Go-Go's have to trade into the Velen. Okay. For OmegaZero, I think this is just go face. You saw that he Velen heals, which means he has 0 AoE in his hand. He literally only attacked with Alkalite, and then he spent the rest of the turn trying to draw with Alkalite, and then he Velen healed. So this just tells me you got to go face, man. You don't even worry about Velen at all. It's not like he's going to kill you in one turn. Even if he has Mind Blast, it's only 10, 17, 19. I mean, max damage you can do is like 25 to 27. Priest of the Feast, not exactly what he's looking for. This is such a tight spot, man. I swear, if that Netherspite Historian rips a Dustbreaker, I'm going to be very disappointed. I mean, he's going to need to heal, right? He always has to heal with the, I don't think it's lethal with the Raza yet. Is that lethal? It's 32. I think he's a little mana off, to be honest. Oh, but the Velen can attack. Oh, I forgot about the Velen 7. Okay, so we're looking at 10, 14, 18, 25, 28, 29 damage. That is lethal. Holy moly mackerel. The burst. The top deck of the Raza made this available to him. Wow. Good spot. Good spot. Even going with the Shadow Ward Death on his own minions. So earlier, when I had mentioned using Shadow Ward Death instead of Anduin in that particular spot, he wouldn't have had that extra card to do 4 damage with. That was an incredible play by Frozen. That was really nice. That was a dank play right there. That was a spicy one, chat. He played that matchup really well. He didn't even care about the Dustbreaker out, man. He just went for the lethal. He said, I don't need no Dustbreaker when I can just kill my opponent from 32 fucking health. Holy shit. So it looks like OmegaZero switched to the Highlander Priest. He's wanting some of that high-flying 32 damage in 1 turn action. OmegaZero says, give me some of that shit. Frozen with the Control Mage. This is not a matchup that Frozen would have liked. It's interesting that Frozen went directly to this particular Control Mage, knowing that after you beat the Highlander, that your opponent's most likely going to queue that up immediately as well. OmegaZero is actually running the cycle heavy version of the Highlander, while again we had mentioned earlier on that Frozen was running the more dragon oriented one. The opening place here pretty rudimentary so far. Play cycle and get more cycle. Frozen playing the draw a secret card out of his deck. Putting in that little chip damage. All chip damage matters to OmegaZero, knowing that, you know, let's say he doesn't draw the Velen Mind Blast combo, he can still, whenever he plays Raza Anduin, he'll be able to kill his opponent without said combo if he puts in enough little chip damage. The Frostlich Jaina, as bad as it looks right now, is actually not a bad card because you can actually put on a lot of pressure with all of the water elementals. Okay, goes with the Wild Pyromancer, heal onto the Loot Hoarder again, putting this minor pressure, trying to get the chip damage in there. Goes for the Valet to wipe up the Wild Pyromancer. So even though the Loot Hoarder looked like a better target because it had more HP, the Wild Pyromancer allows your opponent to have a little bit more flexibility in being able to activate their combos, such as like Northshire Cleric, Circle of Healing, Spirit Lash, Alkali of Pain. So it's best to clear up the minion that does like you know what I'm saying? It has the ability to do a lot of shit that you don't like. So, you know, being able to valet that is obviously a better pick than the Loot Hoarder, even though it has less health. There's the Blood Mage. He understands that in this particular matchup. Oh, did he hold back the Blood Mage? Okay, he played it. I like to see this play of the Blood Mage. Normally, people like to hold the Blood Mage for cards like Spirit Lash and maybe like to combo with Velen later. But against Mage, you don't want these 1/1 cards. They're really weak against Frostlich Jaina, which you know your opponent's playing. The opponent is not playing a large quantity of creatures. This is Control Mage. You know they have very limited creatures. Getting the Blood Mage out there just for cycle to get closer to your combo is key. And that's all OmegaZero wants to do in this matchup. He just wants to cycle, cycle, cycle. Found a piece. There's the Raza. He's going to throw that sucker down. You know he is. Be like, hey, Lamau, that's going to hit the floor. And I'd like to see him heal Frozen here. Get a little action. Put that guy back up to 30. Help your opponent a little. Show him some love. OmegaZero disagreed with the heal opponent play. I would have liked to seen it. All right, so he has one cycle card in his hand. The Alkalite could potentially, depending on, I believe he has 7 cards in his hand right now. He'll play it. He'll have, no, he has 8 cards in his hand. Technically, he could overdraw if the Alkalite takes all 3 damage subsequently. Mass Dispel for the cycle 1. I like it. Test. There's the Glimmer Root. Pretty good top deck. Fits the curve out perfectly. Yo, what's up, Gyro? Goes with the Ice Barrier. Interesting. I would have actually gone with the Soulcaster. Just because you're able to, you could have, if like, let's say if you pick the Soulcaster and the Glimmer Root lives, which it probably will because it's not a big threat and it's not going to get Firelands portaled, you could have actually Soulcastered the Glimmer Root, and then maybe look for an extra ice block. You know what I'm saying? You could look for a Jaina, not that you would play Jaina, but you know, let's say you don't draw Anduin on time, you play Jaina until then. He's actually flame striking the 3/3. Okay, so Soulcaster would have been bad. Well, it wouldn't have been bad. It just, I just don't see where the Ice Barrier is going to come in here. He's going with the Alkali of Pain. Does he actually? I would. Do we see a Holy Smite on his Alkali for the spicy plays? We do. The spice is an everyday nice. He heals it back up. He's going to throw down the Ice Barrier. His opponent could think it's an ice block. He's not sure. You'd normally just play it as if it's barrier. Because if they get an ice block, it kind of just sucks. Oh, Ponce. Why was I thinking the Glimmer Root was a, why was I thinking it was a Dragonoid operative, Ponce? I'm retarded. Back to Caster Rob. Whoa, Shadow Word Pain. Nice top kick. Do we see a trade into the Alkalite to just draw 1? Or do we Shadow Word Pain to keep the Alkalite alive, knowing that it could probably take at least 2 more damage? I would... Alright, so if he keeps the Alkalite alive, we know Frozen has a Polymorph. Ooh, so Frozen is actually going to Polymorph this 1/3 and ping it. That's what I think is going to happen here. Because he wants to stop all draw, and he creates another water elemental because he just saw a Shadow Word Pain. So I would really like to see a polymorph ping here from Frozen. Or drop the Alexstrasza. That's really big shit too. Alexstrasza is big. No Alexstrasza. There's the, do we see the polymorph ping? I like it. Polymorph ping generates an elemental. Can't deal with it because he already used the pain. Make sure he doesn't get the draw with the alkalite. That's some good stuff right there. I like those plays. So now OmegaZero has this board that he doesn't have a great way to deal with besides Pine-Size Shadow Word Horror, and he just doesn't. I mean, it's good to use it because it's going to nullify the board, but it's only 5 damage. It's questionable. Did he misorder here? Because if he Shadow Words Horror, it's actually going to get rid of his Cold Light. So right now he's rethinking. He's like, should I clear this board up? Or should I let it bypass another turn, and should I go Pine-Size Shadow Word Horror a turn later? I prefer to wait. We're only looking at 5 damage. We know this Mage deck doesn't burst, and there's no way that this 5 damage is going to matter later on. So I like to see the OmegaZero wait there, which he did. That's good. Blood Mage. What would he be looking for? Blood Mage. I guess Blood Mage ping. What I like to see here is an Alexstrasza face and smack that sucker in the mouth. That's what I would like to see. Because then it forces your opponent to either Anduin, and if the Anduin Alexstrasza dies and you keep your 2/2 and your 3/6 out. But if you go with this 3/6 play, it's, you know, you're gonna get Pine-Size Shadow Word Horde eventually, right? So now when he Pine-Size, he horrors, it's gonna kill these two. He's gonna Alexstrasza, and then he's just gonna Anduin down the Alexstrasza. Ooh, he Anduins anyway. Okay. Does he clear the board, or he just starts pushing face? He just starts pushing face. Okay. Alright, this gives Frozen an out here. This Alexstrasza is going to do Big Daddy damage. Not the best pull. He would have liked to saw. He'd like to see Velen. That's really what he was aiming for with that Dirty Rat. Because Velen allows OmegaZero to be able to do over 25 damage in one turn if he has the correct cards. So that was a frisky little play there. He decided instead of the Alex, he was going for the Dirty Rat into Velen play, which I guess is okay because your opponent still has armor. So let's say he would have Alexstrasza attacked anyway. He's technically not getting him past that 15 mark regardless. So I'd have just liked to see more board pressure, in my opinion. Because you already saw Anduin come down. That means he also has to have Shadow Word Death. And if he's using Shadow Word Death, he is going to use Pine-Size and Shadow Word Horror. It's just, you make your opponent have to have the cards. Because Alexstrasza is going to need to be dealt with. Because he'd be swinging in for another 8 this turn. Unless he's going to Psychic Scream. And if he Psychic Screams, that means he's only pushing normally 4 damage that turn anyway. So, and then it puts an Alex back in your deck, which you could use defensively for later. It all depends. I mean, it's a tight spot for Control Mage. Like I said at the beginning of this match, Control Mage is not where you want to be against the Highlander. Like, it's just not a good matchup for you. As the Highlander Priest, though, you're chilling. OmegaZero looks a little sad right now, but he's really happy in the heart. He's looking up like, oh my god, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm doing it good. You know why? Because he's playing Highlander Priest. And Highlander Priest just beats the shit out of everything. Obviously, he wins, gets the Firelands portal. Oh, it pulled the Firelands portal. I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought he Raven there. I didn't realize that he had Dragon's Fury. Lil. There's the Void form. The question is he going to commit more? He obviously can't kill him down from the 30 life total with the current cards in his hand. So we may see like a Doomsayer here. No Doomsayer, no cards. Okay. Makes sense. If he Doomsayers, there's a possibility it turns into a water elemental, and we know that Frozen doesn't run a lot of minions. I'm not sure if his deck runs Medivh, if it runs Medivh or not. But Doomsayer will be the first card played, most likely, out of OmegaZero's hand when it goes to 10 cards if he still hasn't drawn the combo yet. Heads will roll on the flow. Arcane into Firelands portal. Nice. Gains 7 armor, generates a new minion, and is able to ping face. Ooh, the red mana worm is huge, but unfortunately, it has the ability to get Potion of Madness. That's really bad. Oh, there's the Mind Blast for the Big Daddy damage. All right, so OmegaZero is going to be calculating out some numbers here. I mean, what I see here is some crazy shenanigan go-go bullshit. I mean, between Potion of Madness, Velen, and Mind Blast, also attacking your opponent in the face with their own red mana worm. I mean, that's just crazy. And he also has the silence that he can silence his own red mana worm. I mean, he does. Oh my gosh. These are some options here. I mean, that's. I don't think he can do 37. I don't think he can do 37. But he knows he has to either silence and or kill this 1/2. Okay, so he goes ahead and Potion of Madness the 1/2. He's going to probably trade that in. What's up, Alistair? So he's going to clear this up. Okay. Yeah, the Arcane dude was representing a little bit too much armor, and we know that Frozen's deck consists of all giant spells. So if that card, you know, lives, he's going to be gaining anywhere between 6 and 8 armor a turn. Cleaning that up was best. I believe now is where OmegaZero might start ripping down the Velen. Frozen actually said, I believe it was him or someone else, said that the Control Mage versus the Highlander Priest isn't as bad as you think, because if they sit above that 30 health mark, or they sit at that 30 health mark with all their lifesteal, it makes it kind of awkward for the Priest. But at the same time, I just don't see how the Mage could consistently beat it, because like their deck just doesn't cycle like the Highlander Priest. Like in this matchup, he happened to get Jaina early on. But that doesn't always happen. We're gonna see that Dirty Rat come down, right? No? It's 1 in 3 to hit that Velen. Wonder what this stalemate is here. I'm interested to see what Frozen was thinking here. Because I know Priest is obviously reactive, right? So the more cards you play on the board, the more stuff they can react to, so the more times he's going to be able to ping. But if you just give the Priest time, eventually they're just going to win regardless, right? Because now Frozen is within combo range of Velen. The Dirty Rat hit Velen. Wow. Oh man, this turns it around for Frozen. Oh my god. What a pull from Dirty Rat. OmegaZero's just nodding his head. He knows he's mad. I'd be mad too. Oh my god, what a pull. I mean, he Dirty Ratted twice and Velen's been sitting in his hand, so I mean there's a high chance it'll eventually pull it, right? There's the Meteor. You gotta clean up that Velen. No problem there. I mean, the combo burst from the Priest is just significantly diminished now. And that's... Wow. I mean, you can see the kind of resentment on OmegaZero's face. He's just like, fuck this shit, dude. You have one job. Velen, don't die yet. And it's gone. Oh my gosh. Alright, so now he's going to have to calculate the amount of damage he has in his hand and in his deck. And then he has to also know that he's going to have to get through the Alexstrasza. And we had mentioned using Alexstrasza defensively earlier in the game. And that looks like it's going to be the case. He's not using it offensively at all. He's actually just going for the out-control plan of a deck that can do upwards of 35 plus damage in a turn if played correctly. This is very... Frozen has high-level play from Frozen right there. He's played this magnificently. It's not over yet, but you know, he's obviously played this matchup a lot. I mean, definitely if you're gonna bring a control mage deck that no one else is playing, I mean, you've definitely got an edge there because no one else is used to playing against this deck, and that's one of the advantages to bringing sort of an off-meta deck, right? When you bring in these cool different decks, your opponents don't exactly know how to play against them to the fullest. Meanwhile, you specifically are going to be playing against every other super meta deck with your off-meta deck, so you know those matchups in and out. So you're at a clear advantage when going in the matchup. Advantage wise, play style wise, versus obviously the deck may in fact be a little bit weaker, but you make up for it with the knowledge of having played, you know, hundreds of games versus matchups like the Highlander Priest. So I think OmegaZero's is he was gonna ping the 1-2. I mean, obviously, face doesn't really look that great anymore. The opponent's at 20. You're still pushing 8 burst with the mine, with the hero power. You know your opponent has Alex. You have to kill the 1-2, and he's just going to keep life stealing with the water elemental. What a bad spot to be in. He obviously has to wipe up the board here, or at least wipe up the 1-2. Is this where we finally see the Doomsayer or the Spirit Lash? I don't think so. The Scream, I guess it makes sense. And there's the Doomsayer finally. No Doomsayer? Okay, there it is. Did he already use Velen? Velen was pulled from the hand with a Dirty Rat from Frozen. Another Dirty Rat. Dirty Rat's going to pull the Radiant Elemental, another combo piece for the Priest. I mean, Frozen is clearly just shutting this Priest out. Icy Touch face, knowing the board is going to explode next turn. The reason he Dirty Ratted then is because the Doomsayer is going to proc this turn, so no matter what card from the hand, no matter what card was pulled from the hand of OmegaZero, it was dying to the Doomsayer. OmegaZero is now out of cards. He only has this Kazakis and the potion left. He's going to go for the 10 mana because he needs as much value as possible, given the fact that he has no cards left. He was really hoping to get, I believe, resurrect minions or get the demons in your hand, because maybe he could pull Jaraxxus or something like that after he's extinguished all other cards in his hand. But this Kazakis potion isn't bad. Summon 3 minions, gain 10 armor is not a terrible one, but I think he was actually looking for the demon one. Frozen's just in the driver's seat in this match. Blizzard, ping. He didn't even need to use the Alexstrasza defensively yet, and the OmegaZero has to get through double Ice Block, which, by the way, Ice Block in this matchup, if I was the Priest, I would recognize that maybe we can go into fatigue. I wouldn't have drawn as quickly knowing how. Okay. At the end of this game, I will go over what I've noticed in this particular matchup, looking at it now as a third person. And I think it's a weird, you'd have to bend the strategy of the Priest, but I think it's actually better in the long run. And I'll let you guys know on that after Frozen, I believe, wins this particular game here. For those of you who are asking me who I voted for Muzzy, and I believe he's doing pretty well. So he's obviously Icy Touching the 1-1, generating his Water Elemental army. I mean, this fatigue is going to get him. I mean, Frozen still has what looks to be 3 cards left in his deck. I mean, there's just, I don't see a way here. He doesn't know the way. OmegaZero was looking very strong in the first game. Frozen was able to grab the second. Now the third is also going to go to Frozen. So he's going to be up a 2-1 lead against OmegaZero. And he still has a the Jade Druid left. So OmegaZero is going to have to pick up 2 wins against Jade Druid's going to have to pick up 2 wins against the Priest and a what was the other aggro deck? I don't recall Omega Zero's third aggro deck. Oh, Muzzy's out? Fucking rip, dude. All right. Feels bad, man. I mean, obviously these players aren't going to concede out when it looks glim because they're at the World Championship and they want to give it their all. And, you know, maybe they squeak out a win sometimes. But, I mean, this game is just going to go to Frozen. I mean, there's just no way. There's not a single card left in OmegaZero's hand that's actually playable unless Frozen decides he would like to Alexstrasza. I mean, Frozen has shown very, very strict determination on knowing exactly what he needs to do in particular matchups. I mean, I'm pretty sure Frozen is definitely caught the eye of a lot of people. Because OmegaZero is, he's charted to be one of the strongest players from his region. I believe it's Asia Pacific, right? Yeah, he's just going to keep going through the motions. All right, so basically what I saw in this matchup, I'll kind of go through it now because this game is over. So OmegaZero in the beginning of the game cycled exceedingly hard, which is normally what you do with the Priest, right? You would just cycle until you get to your combo pieces, correct? And this matchup, Frozen doesn't really have a ton of cycle, right? He has two of the Arcane Intellects. And here, let me bring up the second game right here, but we'll talk about that match in a little bit detail here, what I saw. So, and on top of that, the OmegaZero ended up fatiguing 4 or 5 cards ahead of Frozen. And Frozen never even needed the ice blocks, and he never needed to use Alexstrasza. So what I would have liked to see OmegaZero do that game is not cycle as much. Know you're eventually going to draw your combo. The Mage isn't going to push a lot of pressure in unless he gets Jaina. And when he gets Jaina, you actually have to play minions into Jaina to generate those minions, right? So if he would have conserved a little bit of his resources, cycled a bit less, not hit fatigue as soon, once then he has more minions in his hand, right? OmegaZero would have more minions in his hand because he didn't play them. So the Dirty Rats have a less likely chance of hitting the Velen, you know, hitting some of your core combo pieces like the Radiant Elemental. You know, let's say the Dirty Rat never hit the Velen, right? It hits some other draw mechanics. At the end of the game, you're going to be able to burst your opponent down to 1 HP. Let's say they have an ice block. You're both at fatigue at roughly the same time, and then Frozen at that point would draw into fatigue, regardless of having 2 ice blocks. He would die on his own turn, therefore never triggering them. So I think OmegaZero needed to play that matchup a little bit differently in regards to drawing less, keeping more minions in the hand, playing around Dirty Rat, and then going for the OTK at the end of the game and not popping the block so your opponent can die at 1 in fatigue. Right? That's the kind of mindset you'd have to have there, because you know Frozen's not going to do, like, Frozen knows that matchup inside and out. OmegaZero clearly had a disadvantage in the going in that matchup, not knowing exactly how to play against that particular deck. And I think the way I just mentioned happened to be the Priests out, unless of course you just rip Raws on 5, get Anduin on 8, and you can combo your opponent down before they even put the pieces together to be able to form, you know, the Alexstrasza, the armor generating turns of the Water Elemental army. All right, so we're heading into game number 3. Frozen is up 2, Omega is at 1. Both hands are looking pretty okay. Let's get into it. We got Wild Growth for Frozen, obviously going to be a keep. The question is, does he also keep the Spreading Plague? Ultimate Infestation's always going back. OmegaZero most likely keeping the Enchanted Raven. Andrew to the Swarm. Scalebane goes back. Bloodsail Corsair is a questionable card. It can pull patches, but it's not a captain. And he also, for OmegaZero, has no buffs in his hand. Oh, he keeps the Blood Corsair, but does not keep the Swarmer. And then he also picks up 2 buffs. Wow. What a hand for OmegaZero. That is a dirty hand. That is a dirty, dirty hand from OmegaZero. I mean, Frozen's also have a very powerful hand. He has double ramp into double plague. So, I mean, Frozen here is also in a pretty okay position. Another field buff. Wow. Oh, man. Is he going to even have time to play these spreading plagues? There's the Jade Blossom ramp. Is he gonna? I believe he's gonna buff the board again because I don't think he's gonna play a creature unless he creates the creature and then coins and then buffs the additional creature played. No, he just goes for the double buff. Fantastic play from OmegaZero. Not only did he play around, he basically played around spreading plague to the max degree. Druid hates to see solid, medium-sized minions. I mean, this is disgusting. Normally, if I was playing on ladder, I would have gone with, like, maybe create a 3/2 and then buff those once. So he would basically have an additional 4/3 out right now. And then all his cards would be less... Because, like, the 5 HP is pretty useful against swipe. Patches is technically the only thing that'll die. But both minions still only have 4 attack, which means they can't actually get through the spreading plague if he plays it. So what I would like to see here from Frozen is obviously he's playing a spreading plague, and then the following turn it's probably another spreading plague, Mark of the Lotus, and I highly doubt that that OmegaZero is going to think he has double spreading plague in his hand, which if he draws a minion here, he'll probably play it. Okay. So he's obviously clearing up those. Patches is going to trade into the 1/5. The question is, does he go ahead and Enchanted Raven? I mean, if it was me, I would play the Enchanted Raven for a bigger Savage Roar next turn. Plus, you really don't play around the second Spreading Plague. But he's actually going to... He's going to get punished for this. So the 1/1's probably going to go into the 4/2 because the 4/2 then trades into an additional 1/1 Scarab. It's going to actually kill off the Patches. So another play from Frozen. Oh, he goes into the 4/4, not the 4/2? Why? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why would you not want to hit the Patches? Unless I guess he's going to innervate Mark of the Lotus then, right? Oh, okay. Oh, he doesn't need to innervate. He can just Mark it. Okay, this makes sense. I didn't know if he was going to Mark of the Lotus or not. Because normally you could also go Jade Behemoth Mark of the Lotus, and that's really annoying too. But I guess putting up a taunt wall is good as well, which is why he traded into the Raven instead of the Patches. Because now if the Patches trades into the 2/6, it's dead anyway. Okay, I can see that. So OmegaZero has an option here. Does he go the Savage Roar, clean the entire board up, or does he go with the Scalebane and make minor trades? This is tough. That double spreading plague, wild, Mark of the Lotus combo. Whoo! That was deep. He goes with the Savage Roar. He wants to clean up the whole board. Okay. I can stand behind this. He even gets these Druid of the Swarm. Probably going to put it in taunt mode. So, actually, I don't know if taunt matters because Frozen would never hero power an attack into the 7/1. Frozen would really like to see a swipe here. No swipe in hand. He's one turn away from innervate into the UI. So he decides to innervate the Blossom instead, still putting him at that same 10 mana next turn for the UI, but he also gets an extra Jade out there. Another Savage Roar gets picked up from OmegaZero. Oh man, now he's in the tight spot. Does he want to clear the board again with a Savage Roar, which he chooses, or it was the Scalebane? I'm pretty sure you just have to try to keep cleaning this board up as much as you can, because you can't get overrun. Oh shit, it's just lethal. Holy fuck. What the shit? Okay. I didn't realize the double Savage Roar pickup would have just led to the lethal there. I mean, next turn, Frozen had it in the bag. Holy shit, OmegaZero with the double like, that's insane. The double Savage Roar top deck to push through the taunts, to push through the Jade Behemoth into exactly, basically almost exact lethal. I mean, that's tilting, man. Frozen's got to keep a clear head because that game would have just fucked me up. That game would have just fucked me up. Both these players, high stressful game, 2-2 in the books. They're both feeling, you can see on their faces, both these players are feeling the fucking grind right now. It's going to be the Jade Druid on Frozen versus the Highlander Priest from OmegaZero. Malfurion in hand for Frozen and Ramp, that's good shit, and Branching Pass with could be extra armor or draw depending on his situation. OmegaZero putting back everything, clearly looking for the Raza Anduin combo. There's the Kazakis, not exactly what he wants, but Kazakis could still give you a card that draws into 2 more cards. The Cold Light Oracle, again, not bad, just a lot of cycle for OmegaZero. I see just a pass here, there's no reason to do anything from OmegaZero. He might take his time, though, because a lot of these plays, like, let's say you instantly pass, you give away to your opponent that you literally have no play that turn whatsoever. So sometimes, even though there's not a play to be made in these turns, they'll take a little bit longer just to signify that they're possibly thinking about a potential play, which gives false information to your opponent on what's exactly in your hand. Again, not stuff you really see on ladder, but definitely stuff you see in tournaments. OmegaZero just going with the heal face, going to hold back the coin for the Glimmer Root. The coin in this matchup actually represents an extra 4 damage with Velen and possibly another card or 2 being played. So I'd actually like to see OmegaZero hold this coin for potential burst later. The Glimmer Root coming in here. Obviously, I'm not going to confuse it with the Scalebane. He's going to pick Mark the Lotus. Pretty good pickup if he ends up getting a couple minions on board. Even if Mark of the Lotus hits 2 minions, it's still like a 1 mana 2/2 being added to the board. And any extra pressure you can put is good. Obviously, OmegaZero would have rather been looking for some form of cycle. But let's say OmegaZero would have gotten some form of Jade card, like a Jade Spirit. That really doesn't do anything for him either. So Mark of the Lotus, not the worst pickup, but obviously not the best. He's going with the coin Power Ward Shield just to get the extra cycle in here. Okay. There's the Velen. Oh, there's the Oaken Summons. Going to pull the 3. Oh, he runs the Teacher version. I like this, Frozen. I like your spicy plays, my man. I haven't seen the Teacher being played in so long. And it makes sense because he has Branching Paths and Mark of the Lotus. Because he makes a really big board full of small, annoying minions, and then he just does retarded buffs with Mark of the Lotus and Branching Paths. Violet Teacher. Innervating out the Malfurion. He's going to go... goes Spoders, and then he's probably, did he go attack or armor? I'm sorry, I'm getting an overwhelming amount of text messages right now from my uncle asking me to do things that I can't do at the moment. So OmegaZero's in a tight spot right now. These Spoders represents very annoying cards. Obviously, he can Dragonfire Potion next turn. But, I mean, how much damage are these Branching Paths looking at? We're looking at 8 damage plus 4. We're looking at 12 burst. Going for the single heal on the Northshire Cleric, knowing it's going to die next turn to the Spoders. Doomsayer is pointless to play. The Spoder would clearly just trade into it. There's no point to Mark the Lotus because, again, Spoders are going to kill it. Oh, he's going to decide... Whoa, 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 Omega. You gotta remember, Spoders, my dude. I wonder what he's thinking about. He's gonna use Mark of the Lotus, so if a Spoder trades into the Cleric, the Spoder dies, and then he's able to save the Dragonfire. So he's going to go Branching Paths into attack? Draw a card. Okay. I was going to say his hero power can kill off that cleric, but normally if you're in the Druid in this matchup, you really just want to armor up every turn. Your Jades do the pressure, your hero power does not. Exactly. I like that. I like that hero power into armor for 3. I mean, in this matchup, those 3 armor every turn, by the time your opponent gets the Raza, Velen, Anduin, Mind Blast combo, you're chilling at 50 to 60 health. Regardless of how much damage they can do in one turn, you can just survive it. I mean, this is exactly what Frozen was looking for. Getting the Malfurion online early, gaining the armor every turn, making sure OmegaZero doesn't have a board to put in chip damage. I mean, this is just... Frozen is chilling like a villain right now. OmegaZero is going to have to push back. I'm not sure which ones he's picking because they pick really fast and your boy can't read that quickly. So deal 4 damage to all minions, summon 2 friendly minions that died this game is the potion at hand. Frozen obtaining more draw in his hand, the Jade Idol in hand, and a Branching Path, chilling at 45 HP. We're obviously going to see the armor up for 3 coming in every turn. The question is, does he nourish for mana right now? Nourish for card draw, not mana. He just plays the Violet Teacher, trades into Kazakis, represents a lot of annoying board states with the Violet Teacher. Didn't go too ham. So what do we see OmegaZero here? I mean, obviously we might see Dragonfire Potion just to clean up that Violet Teacher, or we could maybe see the Doomsayer, and it's going to have to make the Frozen react to it with either spells, or he's going to have to buff minions, and if he buffs minions at that point, then he can go with the Dragonfire Potion. But we have to think about if Violet Teacher does get buffed with a Mark of the Lotus, it's going to be at 6 HP, making it out of range of the Dragonfire Potion, unless OmegaZero has the Blood Mage in his hand, which he does not. He's just going to drop the Kazaki Potion right here. Alrighty, and he's gonna Holy Smite down the Violet Teacher, making it so his combo ability is a lot less pushy in the late game. Holy Smite is one of those cards that gets comboed with Prophet Velen to be able to do, you know, a lot more damage. Oaken summons, more armor, pulls Fandral. Fandral can now do crazy things with the Nourish. There we go. Even though it doesn't give him, like it's not ramping because he's already at 10 mana, it still allows him to gain 2 and draw 2. Draw 3, I'm sorry. Does he Jade Idol now? He's most likely going to be using that Spellstone. I would like to see the Spellstone get used on Kazakis. Or he could hero power. But Kazakis is representing 4. The hero power is representing 3. He's net losing 1, which means Spellstoning the 4/4 is better than the hero power. He played the Jade Idol, which puts a Jade on the board. 3 more in the deck, which means Branching Paths for draw right now represents a little bit more than the armor, because he's already sitting pretty at that 54 armor mark. Cold Light Oracle for draw. This actually helps Frozen just as much as it helps OmegaZero. OmegaZero is trying to crawl back into this game. I mean, it is not looking good. At the end of this game, I'll wrap up all questions that I missed since I started talking about the matches. I just want to get through the matches, and then we'll talk about the questions that you guys might have. All right, OmegaZero, tight spot, tight spot. Gonna kill off the 3/3. He doesn't have a clear indication of being able to kill Fandral. Gonna hold the silence again because it's part of the Velen combo. He really doesn't care about that 3 attack that Malfurion's hero power represents with Fandral on the board. Plus, with Fandral being on the board, your opponent already is at 10 mana. Nourish isn't as powerful, which I mentioned last turn. So he's just gonna go with the Jade Behemoth for Frozen. His Jades are still relatively small at 4/4. Nothing too crazy there. The pressure will get on, though. These Jade Idols will get out of hand. And the good thing is that Frozen was actually able to draw into the Ultimate Infestation, which allows him to draw into the more... Normally with Jade Idols, you don't want to fill your deck with them up, your up your deck with them too early in the game, because then you end up just drawing only Jade Idol. What you want to do is be able to get Ultimate Infestation, nourish in your hand first, then be able to cycle the Jade Idols into your deck. Your deck then has multiple Jade Idols. Then you use your draw to draw into those Jade Idols all at one time instead of just one at a time. So that Ultimate Infestation in the hand of Frozen, along with the branching paths, is a great place to be right now, especially against the Highlander. Plus, he's sitting at 55 armor. I mean, at 55 health. It's just a tight spot for OmegaZero. Frozen's showing very high skill cap in this particular matchup in general. Just like he was able to show in his Control Mage matchup as well against this particular deck. I mean, he's just manhandling Highlander Priest right now, which feels really nice, guys. You always like to see the Priest being manhandled, especially the Highlanders. So Pine Size Horde does clean up the board for OmegaZero, but I mean, it's just Jades are a looming present on the horizon. They're just gonna grow bigger. The green men never stop, especially in the Jade Druid. Again, he's just gonna continue. Oh, yeah, we'll see the armor. We may even see the Spellstone onto the Alkalite, and he's just gonna make another Jade. Oh, he goes for the attack. So I wonder at which point does Frozen say, okay, I have enough armor, we can turn my hero power into attack now. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you have enough armor to last through the burst. It's interesting that he kept the Spellstone, and I'm assuming he kept the Spellstone because whenever OmegaZero decides to turn on the gas with the Velen, that he wants a clear way to kill Velen, because I guess if he uses both Spellstones, he's gonna have to use a double swipe on Velen, or he's gonna have to have big enough Jades on the board to trade into the Velen, right? So holding that Spellstone and just attacking that Alkalite was a very interesting play there. Again, he's got all these Jade Idols in the world. He's going to be able to keep making Jades every turn. They're at 6/6s. They're only going to get bigger. I mean, OmegaZero is going to need some big draw here. He's going to need some big swing turns with Anduin. He's going to need to be able to dish out huge damage with the Velen combo with the Radiant Elemental. Because at this point, Frozen is not going to he's not stepping off the gas pedal. Frozen is fucking full on, cock-locked and loaded, ready for the Priest beatdown. OmegaZero putting in some chip damage into Frozen's immeasurable amount of armor. There's the UI coming in, destroying the 4/5, going to draw him into the Jade Idol. So the only card Frozen does not want to mill right now is the last Jade Idol in his deck. He drew the Jade Idol. Perfect. That's exactly what Frozen wanted here. If he would have drawn the 10 and then milled the Jade Idol, that would have been horrific. Okay, so that Scream is obviously looking pretty good for OmegaZero at the moment. That's almost exactly what he wanted to see. He may even wait a turn, because you know that Frozen's going to play more Jades next turn, and he wouldn't have had... It's not like he would have done huge amounts of it. He would have done like 12-ish, but at the time right now, I would have really liked to see Omega hold back that Scream right there, because it's just gonna get worse. Like this turn, he's gonna play Aya. Aya's gonna make another Jade, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he plays another Jade Idol if this is not the last one in his deck. Going for more armor. I mean, Frozen is chilling at 60 life at the moment, and now he's pushing 12 damage the turn after he just screamed. OmegaZero really gonna need to do something big. It's kind of crazy though. He hasn't been able to draw Raza and or Anduin, and he's looking at 6 cards left in the deck. So his 2 combo pieces are in the bottom 6. That is that's not a thing you like to see when you're playing the Highlander Priest. You cycle, and when if either combo piece is in bottom 10, you feel bad, real bad, and especially against the Jade Druid. I mean, he's just given Frozen so much time to be able to put together the pieces, to be able to, you know, make a board state the way it is right now, to have enough armor. I mean, it's just, there was not enough chip damage. There was just not, the cycle wasn't there, apparently. I mean, the cycle was there, the just draws weren't. And Frozen is just pushing lethal next turn. Blood Mage is not exactly what he wanted to see. He definitely wanted to see at least Shadow Reaper this turn to clear up Aya in the 8/8. And then just hope he wouldn't die the following turn, which he would be to hero power swipe branchings anyway. I don't see how OmegaZero is going to claw out of this one. As powerful as Highlander is, 63 armor, 63 health is mightier. And as Jade's just one of those decks without Geist, it's really hard. Which, by the way, the reason yesterday when we were playing on Ladder Guide, we played a lot of priests that had Geist in their deck, and this is one of the reasons why. We've played multiple priests with Geist in their deck, and this is literally, it stops Mark of the Lotus, it stops Jade Idol, it stops the Spellstones. There's the Raza. There's the Silence on the Aya. He's back to 24 life. He's not quite dead yet. He's looking at 13, 16, 20, 2, 4. I believe that is lethal with hero power, swipe, branching paths. I believe that is exact lethal. Let's see if my calculations are correct. I did quick math. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we have 17, 3, 20, 24 exactly. Frozen coming out on top against OmegaZero in a matchup that Frozen definitely wanted to see. Great series from these two individuals. Can we get you guys to shake on this as we head over to the Caster Rob desk? Can we get a good shake? Perfect game, guys. Appreciate it. Good job, Frozen. Do you have any words to say about the game that you just won, my boy Frozen? Good job, man. All right. So as we review the polls and the brackets of what's going on today, quarterfinals, I'm just kidding. Y'all have already seen all that. All right, so the next game we're going to review. So the next game we're going to review is Stanadachi versus Surrender.